Hi everyone, my name is Donnie Lowy at closeoutexplosion.com. Hope you're doing really well. The next time you come to New York, you're welcome to visit me. You could also remember you can order online, you could order by WhatsApp, you could order by email, and I could ship to you. My WhatsApp number is 1-917-913-6093, 1-917-913-6093. Today I'd like to discuss with you the different shipping options that you have when buying wholesale products from the United States for Africa. So there are many different ways you could ship products. The most basic way you can ship products is by finding someone who is traveling from the United States to Africa. Now, the challenge with that is they might only be able to take a luggage worth of merchandise, and if they already have their own merchandise that they're taking to Africa, or perhaps they have just, a lot of gifts that they bought, they might not even be able to give you a full luggage worth of stuff to take with you. So if you want to build up your business, you want to find ways to take merchandise in a higher volume. Even if initially you're not importing a high volume of wholesale products from the United States, you do want to set up a system where you have the capability, where you have the ability to import wholesale products at a larger scale. This way, as you build up your business, you don't run into any roadblocks at that point. Now, another way to import merchandise from the United States to Africa is simply travel to the United States, book a ticket. You could arrive at JFK, LaGuardia, you could arrive at Newark, you could arrive at any airport where you're going to, depending, of course, if you're going to Miami, you're going to LA, and so on. Go visit the local fashion district. If you are in New York, you could visit the New York Garment District, also known as the New York Fashion District. You could visit wholesale showrooms. You could visit wholesalers outside of the district, such as wholesalers like myself in Brooklyn. There are wholesalers in Queens, wholesalers in New Jersey, and so on. You could visit them, make purchases, pack up your merchandise in your suitcases, and take it back with you when you travel to Africa. Now, another option is you can also send merchandise with UPS, with FedEx, with DHL. The advantage of using those shipping companies is that they ship by air, they ship really quickly. The disadvantage is that compared to the following shipping companies I'm going to mention, they are more expensive. So another benefit, of course, is they have a very high trust factor, right? If you ship with UPS, with DHL, with FedEx, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get your merchandise. You could always pay extra for insurance because there always is a chance that something could go wrong. Merchandise could get lost, merchandise could get damaged, but overall they have a very, very high level of credibility. Now, the shipping companies I'm going to mention also have a very high level of credibility, but it takes longer to get the merchandise with them than if you used a shipping company as the companies that I mentioned. Now, the other options, which I'm getting to now, is you could use freight forwarders. Freight forwarders are shipping companies that aggregate people's shipments, and then they send it on your behalf to Africa. So, for instance, let's say you are located in Nigeria. You have a boutique in Nigeria. You want to import wholesale merchandise from New York. Maybe you traveled to New York and you made a selection. Now you want it shipped over to Nigeria, or perhaps you yourself traveled, bought merchandise, you travel back, now you want to get the merchandise. So what a freight forwarding company does is they will take the shipments from a wholesale business such as myself. They'll take the wholesale shipments from other wholesalers. They take all the merchandise to their facility. Now what they do is they book it either on an airline, or if it goes by sea, on a ship, and they get a discount on the shipping because you're doing such a high level of shipping. And since you're giving all that shipping to, let's say, one airline, or to maybe one of a few airlines, or one of a few different shippers, they're getting a much lower rate than if you booked the shipment yourself. So for instance, if an airline might charge, and I'm just throwing out a number, if they might charge $6 a pound when you book your own shipping, because the freight forwarder is able to aggregate many shipments and give that airline a higher level of shipping volume than an individual can, or an individual business generally can, they get a much lower rate. The rate might be only $3.60 per pound. If you're shipping to Nigeria, to Ghana, there's many other countries, South Africa, you could often ship on a freight collect basis, which means that the shipping can be paid by the receiver when the shipment arrives in the respective country. Some of the countries you have to ship prepaid. Some of the shippers have freight collect for some countries, prepaid for other countries. Now, there are also shipping companies that specialize in a specific country. For instance, corporate air messengers, air freight, express air freight. There's Granbell. They specialize in Nigeria. And then you have companies such as Schenker that will ship throughout Africa. they specialize in shipping on an international basis, but maybe not necessarily on any specific country. What I recommend is if you use Schenker, they're a great company. I've used them many, many times for my customers. I recommend that you ship at least 100 pounds or more. The reason is you could ship any quantity, but they have certain charges, such as, I believe it's called transportation charge, security charge, clearance charges. There's many, many small charges. So if you're shipping an order that, let's say, only weighs 20 pounds, you might save per pound on the shipping, but all those extra fees are going to add a lot to the amount that you're shipping. Now, if you are going to ship with Schenker, find out what all those charges are, because although the shipping rate per pound is lower than FedEx and DHL, they do have, and UPS, they do have other charges that can add up. But generally, if you're shipping a very large volume of merchandise, because let's say you're shipping 300 pounds, so, and the cost per pound is a lot less, right, than UPS. Those small charges, in terms of as a proportion or in terms of a percentage of the total, are going to be a lot less. If they charge you an extra $80, but you're saving $500 for the total shipping for, per pound, then of course it makes sense to use a company like Schenker. Now you could also use the U.S. Postal Service. They're a great company. I mean, they are essentially a company, even though they are owned by the American government, but it is a company. They're a great shipper. They're reliable. They're honest. The challenge is that it can take a long time to get your shipment. I have sent shipments, for instance, to Kenya with U.S. Postal Service. I've sent them to, I believe, South Africa, many different countries, and people do get their shipments, but it can take a long time. And when it takes a long time, what happens? Of course, people aren't happy because they want to get their shipments right away. When you send priority mail with the U.S. Postal Service, or international priority mail, I believe it says 7 to 10 days or up to 14 days, but I'm just telling you that in reality, it can take longer. The upside is that I completely trust U.S. Postal Service. It's an honest and very efficient organization, and their rates are generally pretty fair, and you only pay when you ship an order with them for the per pound. So if they charge $6 a pound, that's what you pay. If you want additional insurance, you have to purchase that on your own, and there's an insurance up to, I believe, to a certain level, and sometimes they have insurance available, and sometimes they might not, if I'm not mistaken, depending on the type of service that they offer, but you should definitely look into it. Now, if you are going to ship with a freight forwarder, or you should know that generally there's two options in shipping. One is by air, and one is by sea. When you ship by sea, what does that mean? When you ship by sea, it means that it's going to go on a ship, and it's going to take a long time, but you're going to get it at a much lower rate than if you ship by air. So when you ship by air, it could take, let's say with corporate messengers, it could take 7 to 10 days, and they charge about $3.60 per pound. Rates do fluctuate, so you want to contact the freight forward companies directly. Now, that will take about 7 to 10 days. It will be delivered directly to the recipient, and then it goes on a freight collect basis, so the shipping is paid for when the order arrives in Nigeria. If you ship by sea, for instance, with corporate messengers, you could basically, they have something that's called a barrel. It's essentially like a big plastic container, and you could fit up to about 400 pounds of clothing, and it's going to depend how big each piece of clothing is, right? And if you ship another item besides clothing, it's going to depend how much space it could take. So you can get from corporate messengers or from any shipping company that ships by sea, you can get the actual volume, the dimensions, so you know exactly how much stuff you could fit, how much wholesale products you can fit in that barrel. So contact them directly. And when you ship by sea, what essentially they do is they take that barrel, put it on a ship, and it could take, with corporate messengers, I believe it takes up to about 4 to 6 weeks for the shipping, and it also goes on a freight collect basis. And currently they charge $200 to ship by sea. There are many, many shipping companies. You should definitely do your research and find the shipping company that you're the most comfortable with. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. My website is closeoutexplosion.com. The next time you come to New York, you're welcome to visit. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.